Hey everyone, Sip here with another Planet Zoo video. Today I'm going to recreate the Savannah Aviary at Antwerp Zoo. But first of all, I'd like to welcome all the new people who joined in since my last video. We actually went over the 400 subscriber mark and are now on our way to 500 subscribers. I want to thank all of you wonderful people for tuning in, and I especially want to thank Lee for the shout out in his mod showcase video. Right after that showcase dropped, I got like 10 new subscribers or something. So yeah, thank you, Lee. Keep being awesome. For all of the new people who just joined, in this series I'm recreating the Antwerp Zoo in Belgium. It's the most well-preserved 19th century zoo in the world, which is why there are so many historical buildings dotted throughout the park. So be sure to check out my other videos. I've done about half of the zoo already. In today's episode, as I said, I'm building the Savannah Aviary, which is basically a combination of a walk-through aviary and a Savannah enclosure. So before I talk a bit about the animals that are in this enclosure, let me talk a bit about the history of this building that I'm building right now. So this one was built in 1900 and designed by architect Emil Thielens to originally house camels. Later on it was also used to house white rhinos and eventually wallabies. The Antwerp Zoo was actually the first zoo outside of Africa to have white rhinos, so that's another first for this Antwerp Zoo, as they also were the first one to have okapis. The style of the building is called eclecticism, which is just fancy architecture speech for a mishmash of different styles and ideas. And I think you can see that by now that this is a weird looking building. For a long time the building was stuck into a corner because it was wedged in between actual houses with people living in them. Like imagine waking up, you're making some coffee, you're preparing like your lunch to take with you to your work, and then you look outside of your window and there's this giant ass stinky rhino just sitting there. Now I don't know if the houses had windows looking onto the zoo, but I imagine they didn't have that. Now because the building is protected as heritage, it was kept in the design for the Savannah Aviary, which I mentioned in my previous video, was constructed or like renovated in 2015 and 2016. So they kept that building in there, which further contributed to the eclectic style surrounding the building, because it's like literally wedged into the rocky walls of the aviary. Now personally I'm not a big fan of this building. I think it's a bit weird looking. Doesn't really fit in with the overall look of the Savannah Aviary, but I get that they had to keep it because it's a historical building. Now my recreation effort here in the game, in the end it turned out well, but like this rough thing I have here on screen right now is definitely not the final version. For example, those red brick corner thingies, I changed that out for like painted brick to match the color, and it looks a bit weird right now with the red brick and the Indian decoration pieces there. Looked a bit weird, and also the color of the walls. Like right now it's like an unhealthy piss color or something. I changed that out later on for a bit of a more, like, I don't know how to describe, but a different kind of yellow. So it's a bit better looking in the final project or the final product. But yeah, you can see there these Indian pieces. I don't know, like these pillars in the corners, they had like these white like sticking out pieces or these white details, and there wasn't really anything in the game that was kind of similar, so I went for those, but then in the end I decided to change that up. And over here I have this little like corner there's just gonna be a hole there because we don't have the pieces to fill that in. I don't really know how or what the original architect used as an inspiration for this building, because it is quite weird. Like the choice for the color combinations, like you have this green and this yellow, you have this, it's quite strange for the time period. I think I've never quite seen a building like this. Like if I have to compare it with eclectic buildings in say for example a town like Leuven or even in my hometown, like we have some eclectic buildings in there as well, but they don't look as strange as this one. And I don't know what kind of inspiration the architect had, but I don't know. I'm not feeling this building. If I compare it to all the other buildings in the Antwerp Zoo, like take for example the Okapi Temple and stuff like that, or like even stuff made by the same architect, it's all looking really great. But this building is just weird in my opinion. But yeah, anyways, right now I'm doing the rocky like background for the Savannah Aviary right here. So this episode will heavily feature aquatic rocks. They are my best friend for this episode, and I think they will be my best friend in future episodes as well. But just the sheer amount of like customizing I can do with them in terms of coloring and stuff like that is just a gift sent from heaven to replicate this habitat here. Now I must say, later on I also used like desert rocks just to have some variety in there, but for this corner I think just having the aquatic rocks look fine. Now this is also one of the first times I had to do quite a bit of like terrain shaping. My previous experience with like this kind of heavy terrain modifying was, I think, when I did the Jubilee complex with the sea lion like pool in there. I had to do some fiddling with terrain in there to have the keepers be able to go in there. But in here, it's basically this entire savannah is 4 meters, or was it 5 meters, lower than the rest of the flat part of the zoo. And then you can walk in there and you have the aviary and stuff like that. It's quite an irregular shape as well, so that made it kind of a bit harder to make. But I think in the end it really turned out well. And I'm really excited. I don't know if guests will actually go through there. I haven't seen them do it yet, because I'm kind of afraid, because I have Cape buffaloes in here, that they are kind of afraid to go in there. But I try to keep like 2 separate habitats, one with the Cape buffaloes and then another one with the where I could have animals or like the other animals they have in here. And this brings me to my next point. Let's talk a bit about the animals that are in here. So as I mentioned earlier, we have Cape buffaloes in here, but we also have like guinea fowls. I think they are just helmeted guinea fowls. Don't know if there are vulturine guinea fowls in here, but I'm just gonna put them in here just because we don't have that many varieties of birds in the game yet as mods, just in the game in general as well. Then there's also hornbills and vultures. So vultures would be great to have in here as well, just like them sitting on a stick or something. That would be great. What else do we have in here? We have ducks. So you see me doing these like little water pools in here. So that would be fun if we had ducks to have in here. Then we also, what do we have next? Pigeons, apparently. Last time I went there, I didn't really notice any pigeons, but maybe that's just because like they are pigeons and you don't really pay attention to like animals or birds you just see when you go to a town or a city or something. So yeah, right now I'm putting in kind of the entrance. I think in a sec here. Oh yeah, this is a fun thing I'm building here. So right when you go outside of the cave that we built last time, there's this little like watchtower for, yeah, I would say kids, but I mean I think it's big enough for adults to go in there as well, to get a little bit closer to the animals, like this little watchtower. And on top of the watchtower, I'll do that in a second here after I do these stairs, these ridiculously small stairs. Like on top of there's actually a bird nest. I think it's, was it the hornbills or something I have in the picture that are actually sitting on top there. So yeah, as you can see here, an actual bird nest on there, so the birds can really get close to the zoo visitors here. But yeah, then I'm just adding these like a barrier made out of these poles here. But yeah, I was talking about the animals in here. I think there's also like spoonbills in here. And storks, if I'm right, and maybe even herons. I don't know, either one of those two. But they like to fly a lot in this aviary, and that's like the awesomeness of this whole like new area in the zoo. Like we had a walkthrough aviary, but there was kind of still like a separation from the visitors. And in here, when you walk through here, you really get the feeling that you're in between the animals. Like I think they even do a feeding show with the vultures. I'm not sure though, because of Corona and stuff like that. I'm not sure if they still do that for the visitors. But it's definitely, like, I noticed that on the day program they had at the entrance of the zoo, that they do these feeding moments, like to get the birds really up close to the visitors. That's quite awesome that they have this kind of new walkthrough aviary that's not just birds but also Cape buffaloes, and yeah, it's a really nice new area, and I hope if they ever do more changes in the zoo, that they kind of take this approach of keeping animals closer to visitors, keeping them in more natural environment, because I must say this is one of the more natural looking environments in the Antwerp Zoo, while also keeping like the historical like background of the zoo, because they had to keep that building there, of course. Now, as I said, I don't really like that building, but that's just my personal opinion. And I can definitely see why they would like protect it, because it has a really distinct style going for it. But right now, as you can see there, it kind of looks bare, and there's not really much going on in this walkthrough habitat just yet. And that's all because I didn't put any plants in yet. So I'm still putting in rocks in here. All of the same aquatic rocks, just to cover up the wall and stuff like that. This is actually one of the harder parts if you do recreation videos and stuff like that. It's always these kind of nooks and crannies and like the walls of a habitat or something that you don't really have enough pictures of, and so you have to kind of wing it. Or you could be like me and go to the zoo, and when everyone is taking pictures of the Cape buffaloes and the birds and everything, you just turn around, look at the wall and take a picture and try and do that while nobody is looking. So yeah, with the new water options there, I also turned this water or gave it less opacity, because it's not really meant to look through, or you don't really need to see any fishes. I don't even know if there's fish in there. I don't think so, because with all those birds like ducks and storks and all those and spoonbills, I wouldn't put in any fishes in there. But yeah, I actually went in went to the other pools I had in the zoo, like for example the flamingo pool, and I changed the opacity for that as well, because I think like having it less opaque is a little bit more realistic. Like, unless you have like something as a sea lion pool or something, that would make sense that it's really clean and see-through. But just like a natural pool or a like flamingo pool that's not really looked after or anything, that wouldn't be that opaque. So I added in a little education or implied education board over there. I still have to look and see if I have good pictures of that like education thingy over there. I think let me quickly check in my pictures, but I think I do have like a picture of it where it's just out of screen, but basically it has some information about the Cape buffaloes, where they live. I think they highlight like one of the Cape buffaloes. I think it's a female named Uzuri, and like who's the mom, who's the dad, and stuff like that. But yeah, I think I don't really have a good picture to recreate that. So right now there's a little bit more foliage in there, and I'm also like working on these bridges now, so it's looking more and more like a finished product here. We have this one bridge over here that goes over the water, and then we have another like wooden thingy a little bit further on. Don't know really what the purpose of that is, but I would imagine like this thing I'm building here. Like I would imagine that they have this for when, or they made this for when they have these bird feeding shows, to have a little bit more room to put people. Because I think this is like right next to the info board or the education board where they have the bird feeding moment. So yeah, that's just an extra spot for people to stand or to sit even when they do these kind of education talks. Just copying around this like roped fence. At some point I noticed in my pictures I took at the zoo, at some point they stop using them and I don't really know where, so I just like put them until I reach this wooden thing here. And it makes sense to have this right next to the water to keep people from like falling into the water or something. I could definitely imagine like a little kid who sees a duck sitting in the water and who wants to touch the duck and then falls into the water. But yeah, right there they stop like kind of randomly. Now the pools that I made are definitely like not big enough or even too big. Like it was kind of difficult because with water in this game you always have to fiddle around and do kind of stuff that doesn't really make it look well or look good. But speaking about that, we're actually gonna get like, I don't know if you know this, but for people who are not really following the mod community or the modding scene right now, we are getting a like an African mod pack. Nick and Leaf and a couple of other people are working on that, like an African mod pack with actual African animals, like the African penguin, I think is supposed to be in there. What else? Like the obvious white rhino, black rhino, stuff like that. And a whole bunch of scenery pieces Nick has been working on. And they do look really awesome. I think they're based off the, what is it? The African Lodge or something in Disney's Animal Kingdom. I'm not really familiar with like American zoos and stuff like that, but I think that was it. And Nick has also made a modular, or I don't know how we would call it, but like this a water piece. Like you have the plaster pieces in the game and the glass pieces, like something similar but with water. And if you turn them around, they actually look like a waterfall. So that's gonna be really useful for people who like to make like weird water features in their zoos. Take for example my skywalk I built earlier in this series that has like a water or some water pools on the roof. And right now I did that by using glass, but I can definitely see myself like making a modded version of this zoo which uses that water feature. I don't know if I would use that for like small pools or anything, because like the water feature of the game itself is or has worked for that for now. But I can definitely see like people wanting to do like rooftop pools and stuff like that, and they would definitely use that. But anyways, my footage is about to run out here. I actually, like, I was so busy streaming this on a Discord on the, I think it was Nick's Discord, that I actually forgot to record the rest of what I did. But I basically just finished this corner of the aviary, put in some support structures, some more trees and stuff like that. But yeah, let's have a look at the live game footage now. And we are now in the game, and we are in our Savannah restaurant having an overlook on the Savannah Aviary. So you can see why people would like to sit here at the window, because they have a really nice view of all the animals and birds in this enclosure. Let's quickly head out of our restaurant. Let's actually go through our Great Ape Valley here. I can see that people are going through here now. I hope they are actually on their way to the Savannah Aviary over here. Yeah, over here we have our little viewing area for, like, let's say it's raining or something and all the Cape buffaloes are taking shelter. Well, you can view them here. But yeah, if you go through this gate here, we are in the walkthrough aviary. Normally there would be like netting and stuff all over the place. But for now I just did some ropes because I'm still figuring out like how the ropes connect to each other and stuff like that. Jeez, these guys are loud. But yeah, in here we have Cape buffaloes. We have two types of birds. We have the vulturine guinea fowl, it's a mod made by Leaf. And we have the helmeted Rachenhaus helmeted guinea fowl, a mod made by the Persian pig, if I'm correct. There's a big size difference between those two, but they both make this annoying cassowary noise. They can be quite loud. Same with these buffaloes, by the way. They are quite loud. But yeah, we walk through here, so we have this really nice natural environment. We have these dead trees actually for birds to sit on, and getting a little closer to the people, to the visitors. That's actually a thing that is quite common in this whole area, like dead trees and poles and stuff like that, to like lure the birds closer to the visitors. Now over here we have an info board that I'm probably gonna do a custom billboard or something. Don't know quite yet. But yeah, people just walk through here, and we have a little pool for ducks on our left side, and on our right side with a nice little waterfall. Now that one isn't really good looking, I know that, but this one is looking good, I think. We have our little bridge over here, so we walk over that, and this is like a good viewing spot again. A tree to lure in birds, another tree that might lure in birds. We have a nice little view of this weird looking building. Like right now you can actually see how weird it is. So we have the weird yellow color, then the red color in there, with the green finishes on the roof and stuff like that. Jesus, these birds. See, that's what I meant when I called this building weird looking. Like, comment down below what you think about this building, but in my opinion it kind of looks a bit out of place still, even with all the work they did with integrating it into the rocks and stuff like that. It still looks kind of weird. So apparently the visitors don't really want to walk in here. Maybe because there's not actually an animal in here. I don't know. But there we have our another like big info panel in here. I think this one has all the information on the birds that are in the aviary. Again, you have a really nice view. Jeez, everything is so loud over here. The Cape buffaloes, the waterfall and stuff like that, and the birds. But yeah, like another wood piece to get some birds in closer. Another nice look of the building over here, and like this entire area I didn't really show in the speed build. It's basically where all the birds go when they are tired and they want to go to sleep. Like these guys, or these panels go open and they can enter. They can also sit on the rocks and stuff like that if they are actually flying birds. But yeah, then you just continue through this path, through this little building, and then you are outside of the aviary. And then there's a couple of more viewing areas. But yeah, overall that's the entire like walkthrough aviary. Now I still have to do like the path and stuff like that, like do it in the same style I have done. And like bushes and stuff, like this entire area is covered in bushes and like even trees and stuff like that. So I still have to do that, because this entire aviary was a lot of work. It took a long time. Oh, do we actually have? Yes! We have our first person in here. What is your name, good sir? Stuart Sherwood. Welcome, Stuart. Are you having a nice little view? Of course you are. Yeah, we have our nice looking birds here. I would really like to fill in this aviary a lot more with birds and stuff like that. Like the spoonbills would be awesome to have, especially if they can fly or if they can jump a bit. Like I would like to see them in the near this pool, and but yeah, vultures even. But I definitely have to do some more work with the ropes and stuff like that, because right now it's not really looking like an aviary and more like just a regular savanna with some random poles sticking out of the ground. Yeah, so more people are actually turning up here, which is great. Getting a picture? Nice. Yeah, this is nice. So people are actually using the walkthrough habitat to have a look at the Cape buffaloes and the guinea fowl and stuff like that. I think it's for now it's the biggest habitat I have done so far in the entire zoo. Maybe the Okapi enclosures are a bit bigger if you combine all of them, but this is definitely the biggest one so far. Anyways, I think this video has been has been going on for a bit too long now. Next episode, I don't know yet what I'll do. I might go back here and do like the playground. And there's some like historical buildings over here as well. But I've been really excited about the Egyptian temple, which is right over here. Um, like the Egyptian temple has the zebras, giraffes and elephants, but I will definitely split those up in different episodes. But the Egyptian temple itself has a really interesting history, and like I'd like to talk about that a bit, and so I don't know yet if I do that next time or if I'm doing the playground first. I still have to see about that. Anyways, this has been it. If you enjoyed this video, please consider giving it a like, and I would really appreciate it if you subscribed if you want to see more of this series. Because as I said at the beginning of the video, we just hit like 400 subscribers, and it looks like the growth over the past few days has been like shooting in the sky, and it would be really nice to get that 500 subscriber mark over and done with. But anyways, see you in the next video. Bye.